Hello, my name is Tyler, and today I will be talking about a One Piece theory in regards to Luffy's mother, and how I believe she was already foreshadowed by another character. I believe that Oda could have potentially foreshadowed Luffy's mother through Sanji. More specifically, I believe that her character, like her personality and even her relationship to Dragon and Luffy was foreshadowed, not so much who the character is. I still believe we have not seen this person, and I am doubtful that she's even alive. There's definitely a rabbit hole here that we are going to go through, but believe me, once we get to the end of it, you will understand where I am going with this. So please just stick with me. To start off, one thing that I've always noticed in regards to Luffy and Sanji, and something that I'm sure other people have noticed as well, is the fact that Sanji and Luffy are pretty opposite to one another. They, in a sense, rival one another in many ways. But to give you a couple examples, there is the fact that Luffy, his theme color is red, and Sanji's theme color is blue. Another example is Luffy cannot swim. He sinks like a hammer. Sanji is one of the best swimmers on the crew, even said to be on par with fishmen. Luffy, he isn't, when it comes to fights and stuff like that, he is like someone who acts first and he runs in like headlong. Sanji, on the other hand, he thinks first, and he's more like in the shadows or covert or whatever you wanna say. And then one of the ones that is probably the biggest one is in connection to their dreams. Luffy's dream is to find the One Piece. Sanji's dream is to find the All Blue, and within these dreams is one and all, which are opposites to one another in the sense of one for all and all for one. The terms of one for all and all for one also kind of fits Sanji and Luffy as well in regards to their dreams and what it entails, in the sense that Luffy's dream of finding the One Piece would result in him becoming the Pirate King, something that only he can do, or only whoever finds the One Piece can do. So in that sense, it's kind of all for one. Whereas Sanji's dream of finding the All Blue, him finding the part of the sea where all the fish come together, so he has access to all the ingredients of the sea to cook food for anybody who is hungry, anybody who needs food. And that kind of goes along with the one for all. This can also be applied to Luffy's own logic of what it is to be a hero. In Fishman Island, Luffy states that he himself will never be a hero because heroes share food and he wants all the food to himself. So by that logic, Sanji would be a hero in this scenario because as a cook, he literally shares his food with other people. And then going along with that own logic, Luffy in this scenario would be the quote-unquote villain. So that's kind of an opposite there too. That's a couple opposites with Luffy and Sanji themselves, like just their characters. But the opposites actually go beyond that with people that they are connected to. For example, when it comes to their benefactors, Shanks and Zeph, both Shanks and Zeph has saved Luffy and Sanji respectively, and when saving them, it resulted in the loss of a limb. And the limb that they lost would be the opposite factor here, with Shanks losing his left arm and Zeph losing his right leg. There's also the fact that Shanks bonded with Luffy and liked Luffy right away, but when he left, he did not take Luffy with him. However, Zeph pushed Sanji away, but when he started the Baratie, he took Sanji in. This also continues with their siblings. Luffy, who was born an only child, gained brothers who he is connected to through a bond. Sanji was born with brothers who he is connected to through blood, but he would run away and become an only child. The relationship that Luffy and Sanji have with their respective brothers is also completely opposite to one another as well. Whereas Luffy has a very caring and loving relationship with his brothers, Sanji's relationship is very toxic and abusive. Now we get to their fathers, who is also, as you can probably guess, opposites. Dragon is a liberator, Judgy is a conqueror. Dragon leaves Luffy alone, but still loves him and is supportive of him, and he allows him the freedom to follow his own dream and path. Judgy literally locks Sanji up. He disregards him, views him as a failure, and prevents him from following his dream and his own path. Sanji and Luffy has literally had opposites about them and about people surrounding them, like pretty much everywhere. So I don't see any reason why this trend would not continue when it comes to their mothers. So by looking at Sora, we might be able to guess what type of person Luffy's mother is or was, and her relationship to her, Dragon and Luffy was as well. So when we look at Sora, we see that she is someone who is very kind, she is loving, she is supportive. She's supportive of the dreams that Sanji has, his dream of becoming a cook. And she was even willing to give up her life just for the sake of Sanji's humanity. So, Luffy's mother would be, theoretically, the opposite of that. Which, isn't really, it's not really good. The opposite of this would probably be something darker. Someone who is not kind, someone who is mean, somebody who was not loving, not supportive, somebody who would probably take away Luffy's freedom before she would sacrifice her life for it. With all this in mind, I genuinely believe that Luffy's mother was a Ten Ryabito, or Celestial Dragon. Now, I know the answer of Celestial Dragon is pretty much the answer that everyone comes up with, but as you can tell, I'm definitely going a different direction with this. Most of the theories involving Luffy's mother being a Celestial Dragon usually has the story as some sort of tragic love story in which Dragon meets a woman who happens to be a Celestial Dragon, but she's kind and caring, and they fall in love, and they have Luffy, and because of that, because he went against like the Celestial Dragons and whatever, she was executed, and this became the catalyst to starting the Revolutionary Army. Now, that's obviously not verbatim, every theory out there, but that typically seems to be the gist of it. I, however, disagree with this because I believe that Luffy's mother was a Ten Ryabito, was a Celestial Dragon, but she was, at least personality-wise, exactly like all the other Celestial Dragons. But not only do I believe that Luffy's mother was a Celestial Dragon, but I believe Dragon himself was her slave, and that Luffy was born as a result of that slavery. Now, because I thought it would be fun to do, plus it would help my theory if it works out, is look at a timeline to see if there's anything that Dragon has done that could contradict this. And the thing is, there's not. Now, granted, we don't know a lot of what Dragon was up to throughout the years, so there is a lot of gaps to fill in. But I'm still taking that as a win, the fact that this fits the timeline, okay? I'm just saying. Okay, so this is how the timeline would work out, taking my theory into account. First, Dragon is seen at Roger's execution at age 31. Dragon could have been taken by the Celestial Dragons between the ages of 31 to 35. Luffy would have then been born when he was 36. And he would have remained a slave for 3 more years until being freed. Now, the reason why I am saying 3 more years and not like 1 more year, 2 more years, etc., blah, 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 is because this would have been around the time when Fisher Tiger would have scaled the Red Wall and freed the slaves in Marijois. Dragon and Luffy would have been freed by Fisher Tiger when Dragon is 39 and Luffy is 3 years old. And I think 3 years old is fine for Luffy. I don't think that's old enough to really remember anything, so that wouldn't really bring up any questions of why doesn't Luffy remember being a slave or anything like that. It is possible to remember stuff from when you're 3, but it'd be vague memories at best. So I don't think you remember anything in detail. And if Dragon and Garp, and I'll get to Garp in a second, but if Dragon and Garp don't say anything to him, he'd probably just forget it. So I don't think that's a problem. What's important here is the fact that this would align with Fisher Tiger actually going to Marijois and freeing the slaves, which would explain how Dragon got freed, because we don't know if Dragon had his powers at this point in time, if it's due to a devil fruit, if it's not, we don't know. We don't know what's going on with that. We don't know when he got it. It's possible that it could be similar to what Bill Hancock had going on, and he was given the devil fruit. So how Dragon would have escaped is easily explained by Fisher Tiger, who we know for a fact would have been in Marijois at this point in time. Continue on with the timeline, however. Garp would go back to Fuchsia Village, which I think he would have arrived still at the age of 39 at Fuchsia. And this is where he will reunite with Garp. And he'll tell Garp, what happened and everything like that. And Garp, understandably, would be pretty upset. Probably would want to storm Marijois. But Dragon would stop him. And the reason why I don't think Garp would have found out about this beforehand is because, well, Dragon, he's in his 30s. He's a big boy. He doesn't need Garp to hold his hand or babysit him. So it's very plausible that Dragon could have got captured without Garp knowing anything about it. And the reason why Garp would not just storm Marijois right then and there is because, well, he would be stopped by Dragon, who would be like, no, I have a plan. I'm going to take my time, and I will take down Marijois. And this obviously would be when he starts the Revolutionary Army, meaning that it was him being a slave as well as all the horrors he witnessed while at Marijois that became the catalyst to him starting the Revolutionary Army, and potentially became the catalyst to Garp starting Sword. Luffy would stay in Fuchsia, and he would just grow up there, and he would just not really remember his time in Marijois because he's still really little and all that stuff. And then 3 years later would be when Shanks arrives, and Luffy would meet Shanks. And then a year later would be when Luffy eats the Gamu Gamu no Mi, gets the hat, meets Ace and Sabo, and when Dragon returns and sees, the horrors of the Goa, saves the people of the Great Terminal, and saves Sabo. And then 4 years after that would be when Garp is brought up at the Reverie that as the most wanted or the most dangerous criminal. And there you go. That is the timeline. It works. It fits. Now, like I said, there is quite a lot of gaps to work with. So it's not that surprising it fits. But I am happy about it because of the Fisher Tiger part of it. I would have preferred if Luffy was younger than 3, if he was 2 or 1. But I think 3 is the bare minimum, or the oldest Luffy can be for this to work. For example, when Momo was talking about meeting Roger, he said, I met Roger, but I don't really remember him that much. It's a vague, it's vague. Even though it's been only a couple years in his perspective. I think he left, I think he was maybe 3 actually. He might have been 3 years old when he left, and then when Odin came back, he was 7, I believe. So if he can not remember stuff about Roger within that time frame, I think Luffy could not remember his own mother within a way larger time gap. So there you go. There's my theory about how Sanji and how he and a lot of people around him, opposite Luffy and a lot of people involving him, and how this could potentially foreshadow who Luffy's mother is, or more accurately, what type of person she was, and the fact that I believe she was a Tenryabito, or a celestial dragon, exactly like all the other celestial dragons. Dragon was her slave. Luffy was born as a result of that slavery, eventually leading into them escaping because of Fisher Tiger. becoming the catalyst to not only the Revolutionary Army, but also potentially Sword as well. So there you have it. There's the theory. I hope you stuck to the end and indulged me through this rabbit hole. If you want to subscribe, feel free to leave a comment. And yeah, that's it. I will see you when I see you. Bye.